Welcome everyone to Ecolomondo's new webinar, Progressing into the Future. I am Moneer Barazi, your host from Global One Media, and it's a pleasure to host today's event alongside Ecolomondo and its Executive Chairman, Mr. Eliot Sorella. We'll be exploring the company's impressive journey so far. Ecolomondo has accomplished a great deal, and today we'll look at how it plans to maintain that momentum and continue driving growth in the near and distant future. Ecolomondo is a Canadian clean tech leader, transforming hydrocarbon waste, like end-of-life tires, into valuable resources. With over 25 years of innovation, the company stands at the forefront of the circular economy, turning sustainability into measurable impact. Ecolomondo is publicly traded on the TSX Venture Exchange as ECM and on the OTCQB as ECLMF. Before we begin, a risk disclaimer is in order. Please note that this session may include forward-looking statements, and Global One Media is not a registered broker or investment advisor. We're simply here to facilitate this discussion. This webinar is being recorded and will be available afterward on Ecolomondo's website and Global One Media's YouTube channel. You can also revisit previous sessions there for more insights into the company's progress. We encourage you to make this a two-way conversation. Drop your questions and comments in the chat after the presentation, and we'll address as many as possible. Now, let's get started. I would like to welcome Mr. Eliot Sorella, Executive Chairman at Ecolomondo. Mr. Eliot, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Moneer. As usual, it's always a pleasure to see you and have the opportunity to give our audience and investors a better insight on what's happening at Ecolomondo and what's going to happen at Ecolomondo.
Absolutely. And it's a pleasure for me as well to be with you on those webinars and be a part of this very impressive journey. There's a lot of themes that we have to cover today. So I would like just to get started right away, beginning with the Hawkesbury facility. You've started to deliver recovered carbon black from Hawkesbury. What's the highest production capacity you've reached so far, and what's the realistic ceiling as you ramp up?
Well, our capacity is much more than what we're producing at this point. However, right now, we are producing every pound of carbon black. We're milling it and shipping it out of the door. So we're able to double our production very easily. The mill has the capacity to go way over 2,000 pounds per hour, and we hope to achieve that threshold in the coming months in terms of shipping out the product out of the door.
Wonderful. And I know that you've been receiving repeat orders. And this says a lot about your quality. So those consistent repeat orders of recovered carbon black and TPO are a clear indication of quality acceptance. In your opinion, why do you believe they stand apart from the recovered carbon black that your peers deliver?
Well, our product stands apart because the clients are buying it. We get their opinions. Recovered products are, it depends on what type of mix you do. The more you mix the percentage, the higher percentage, the better the quality the recovered carbon black is. So we have clients that are using a very high dosage of recovered carbon black. So it all basically what it tells us, we simply make a better product than our competitors because percentage of dosage is much higher, leading to more sales for us.
So you clearly have an edge there, and it's obvious that you have put the milling line problem behind you. So what is your timeline to generate enough revenues to cover your rate?
Well, we're working right now, as you know, we generated in the month of September $224,000 of sales, actual sales, a product that went out the door. That was a company first. And as far as the costs themselves, we're still losing some money, but we are reducing our burn rate gradually, and we hope to overcome that. And probably in the next month or so, we should start generating positive EBITDA.
Well, it's natural for ramp up to look like that. And on October 1st, Ecolomondo's press release showed record sales for the Hawkesbury facility. So, what were the contributing factors?
Well, the machines are running well. Our product is, we're doing more and more batches. We're ramping up the plant. So when you ramp up, you're producing more product, you're generating more sales. And we're able to generate those sales because our offtake customers pretty well buy everything that we produce. So the more we produce, more we'll sell out the door. So as we're ramping up, because ramping up is not only the machines running, you have to educate, you got to hire people, you got to train them. These are all things that need to be done simultaneously. And once you've achieved all those thresholds and you've achieved all those deliverables, then you can actually increase your sales even more. And that's when you get to really, really see high levels of positive EBITDA.
Absolutely. The offtake customers clearly see the value in what you're delivering. And
Yep.
and I can see that your Hawkesbury facility is on the right track and growing steadily. So I would like to move to other themes, if you will, especially your joint venture in Europe and the Shamrock expansion. Can you update us on the site selection, permitting, and financing and timelines, especially for Valencia?
Well, I'll start first with Shamrock because it's been there for a while, and the people in Shamrock have been very supportive. We selected Shamrock because for various reasons. One of the main reasons was feedstock. The second reason, it was close to our off-takers. Third reason, it's in the northern part of Texas, where the current recyclers have a very low footprint. And we were able to have a partner, if you want to call it, by the county of Shamrock to support the company in that particular expansion. So we've invested a considerable amount of money, well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars for Shamrock, and we're ready to break ground there. And we just reapplied for our bond, which has been granted to us several times. It's just a formality as far as we're concerned, and we hope that in 2026 we will this time break ground and start building that plant, which, by the way, is going to be 3 times the size of Hawkesbury. So, having overcome all the uncertainties of Hawkesbury will make Shamrock a huge success. Valencia is our expansion so Shamrock was our expansion into the US. Valencia is our expansion into Europe. So when the people at Aresol came to us, they had definite interest in our technology. We were only one technology amongst other technologies. And over I would say about a year, they vetted all the technologies, and at the end they selected our technology as a premier technology and that they wanted to partner with. So we partnered with them, and they have a site already to be built. And with our expansion, and we were looking for a partner to expand in Europe because we're here based in Canada. The United States is close, but Europe is a lot further. So you need people that really understand that market and people that know, how to do business there. So we're very excited about our first deal, our first plant that's going to be built in Valencia, and we hope to build several other plants because the way our engineering is done is that we can build plants all over the world simultaneously. Because our technology is modular. So we're looking forward to having the European deal be our kickoff for our European expansion.
As having a local partner will definitely accelerate the progress. And Shamrock facility, I'm glad you mentioned that it's three times bigger than Hawkesbury. And I imagine there were a lot of lessons that you have learned throughout the process of building Hawkesbury and getting it to where it is now. So can you tell us more on that? But what if you were to do it again, and you are doing it again, what would you avoid and what would you do right this time, do better this time?
Well, in a nutshell, our experience today will avoid the inexperience that we had going into building Hawkesbury.
Well put.
So all the plants that we will build will take advantage of the mistakes that we've made. So we won't make them again. So that will create several benefits to future plants. Lower capex, more efficiency, higher throughput, better sales, and hopefully better products.
So a much more streamlined process, I can see. I want to move to the financials with just a short question. Your revenues are ramping up pretty fast. So what is your timeline for being fully ramped up?
Well, we're hoping that by July 2026 we will be fully ramped up. But if we keep going at the current pace, and you know, being first of its kind, you're always learning, okay? And it's not that we're being in R&D. If you're producing 1,000 pounds an hour, you want to see what you can do to go to 2,000. And if you're producing two, you want to go to three, and vice versa. So as we got along, and I have a great people working for me, very intelligent at the plant, who come up with consistent and continuous ideas for improvements. And some of them do have a lot of value to them and bring a lot of value, things that we haven't thought about in the past. So we're always looking to improve. However, we understand, not understand, we know that we have to keep producing and keep increasing. Doesn't mean you have to go from A to B overnight, but you got to get to B. So we're hoping that maybe even sooner, with some of the changes we're making and some of the investments that we're making, we might get to being fully ramped up even sooner. But right now, we're hoping that by July 2026 we will be fully ramped up.
Well, it is an incremental progress and a steady one for sure. And as you ramp up, your facilities are expanding from two reactors to more than six reactors. So do you expect costs to fall as you use more reactors?
Well, look, the bigger the plant, the higher the economies of scale.
Precisely.
You're spending more capex, but you're producing more. So your cost to produce 1 ton or to process 1 ton of waste is much lower because you're producing more tonnage. So the capital cost is one issue. So the lower capital cost per ton of capacity will generate into better profits. So the bigger the plants are, the more profits or the higher the EBITDA will be, percentage-wise.
Yeah, precisely as you put it, better economies of scale and better efficiency for sure. I want to move to governance. You've had some notable additions to your board recently, Veronique Laberge and also Frank Kelly. Can you tell us more about their expertise and what makes them a great fit for Ecolomondo's board?
Well, when you're looking for a board member, you look at several factors, okay? And one of my main factors is capability and experience, and how will they take their fiduciary responsibility? Because they in fact are acting on behalf of the shareholders. They're voted in by the shareholders, of which I'm one. So I'm very, very excited with their nomination. They've already, for this short period of time, proven to me that they're invaluable. Veronique has a world of experience, especially in public companies. She has been able to advise us for some capital raising. Frank Kelly used to work at the EDC, and he has given us enormous guidance. So I'm very proud to have them, and I look forward to working with them for the rest of the year.
Sounds like the company is in good hands. You've also made an addition to your executive team. You've hired a new CTO, Mr. Mario Montashi. Could you tell us more about his expertise and why now are you hiring a CTO?
So with Hawkesbury getting to a level of sophistication and we're starting to ramp, you want somebody, and keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, we have this great technical team in Hawkesbury. Okay, and they're coming up with ideas all the time. So we wanted a CTO to take some of these ideas and translate them into future technology for future plants. There's also, we're now starting to look at other options, okay, other products, because our technology is not capable of only doing tires. Okay, so it's capable of making resources that, for example, could make, airline fuel, sustainable airline fuel. I mean, these are all things that are highly in demand. So that's one of the things. The second thing is I wanted to make sure that in the ramping up of Hawkesbury, we're improving our sophistication there also. So he's kind of wearing a dual hat, okay? And it frees up some of my time and some of the managers here to do other things, to work on Shamrock, to work on Valencia, to work on other projects, because those are not the only two right now that we're in negotiations with. We have several of them. So it's just was the opportune time, and Mario's he's an exceptional candidate. If you look at his CV and you look at his experience, okay, Ecolomondo should be extremely proud to have him on the team.
Wonderful. I can see that it's a very future-oriented decision, and one of your priorities is for sure operational excellence, and I could see that throughout the company's journey. And I also noticed that the company's governance has matured throughout the years, from policies to board refreshment to, of course, you have a very impressive record in ESG. So, what key milestones have you achieved so far when it comes to governance? If you could summarize them for the audience, and what's next on your governance roadmap?
Well, if you actually look at all the aspects that Ecolomondo has looked at and has worked at and is actually living that experience, okay, we have taken on our fiduciary responsibilities, and we have taken on not only our fiduciary, but as a corporation, we've taken on our corporate responsibilities. If you look at the way we're decomposing waste, okay, it's simply a better mousetrap. You visit the Ecolomondo building in Hawkesbury, you won't see one tire outside. The waste is being processed in real time. Now, is everything perfect? No, but I can tell you, we strive for perfection, because when you're dealing with emissions, you're dealing with waste, you're dealing with toxins, you're dealing with all kinds, you have to be responsible. And Ecolomondo performs this in a responsible manner. The shareholders that own shares in Ecolomondo are investing in the future of the company. And we are there. We've been steadfast. Ecolomondo went through COVID like everybody else. It went through a lot of pains because of it. You know, if you look even at the way we handle our debt, you know, our debt is high, but we had our debt to build a plant. We actually have a plant, and that plant is operating in a safe environment, and we strive to make sure that even though we're processing waste, that it's done in a safe and clean environment, not only for our employees, but also for our neighbors.
Well, you have started with the right philosophy in mind, and now it has materialized into real operations that are very clean and sustainable. So it's very tangible what you're talking about. But now I want to talk a bit more about your strategy moving forward, and of course risk management, which is an integral part of strategy. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts and learn more about your vision regarding how you plan to sustain this momentum. This year has been a breakthrough year for Ecolomondo. So how do you plan to sustain that momentum moving forward?
Well, you know, the momentum is gaining because we're achieving the deliverables.
Right.
And the momentum will happen on its own. And you see it happening already. You see Hawkesbury is gaining traction. You see Texas is there. The people in Texas have stayed steadfast to Ecolomondo because they believe in the cause and the purpose. The Shamrock County, they hope we make a lot of money, but their purpose is to handle a problem that they have, okay, which is tire waste.
Yeah.
And they invest in a company like Ecolomondo because we serve purpose and we're going to bring economic benefits to the area. So, you know, there's a lot of benefits. So the momentum will gain as people will see more and more the purpose and the economic benefits that they will get. Everybody will want to buy it or have one of these plants in their area. Why? Because they want to clean up a tire problem. And two, they want the jobs, they want the economic benefits that go along with it, because a lot of the products we make are exported. They could go to other states, they can go to other countries, they could, whatever, you know? So these are all economic benefits. So the momentum will come once, as Hawkesbury is getting more and more traction, and it's proven to be a viable plant and actually make money. So just imagine the next, then we get 2, then we get 3, then we get 4, then we get 5. Momentum will be there. And we as a corporation, we operate these plants. We don't sell them, okay? We operate them. So our momentum will even come from not only processing the waste, but to sell the products and to become a major player in the recycling of scrap tires.
And I imagine there are certain risks along the way that you're aware of. Could be related to financing, could be related to commodity pricing, you name it. There are many categories. So what's on your radar in terms of risk, and what are your mitigation strategies?
Well, maybe the question you should ask, Moneer, is which are the risks that are not on the list?
Right.
You know? So look, there's a lot of risks especially when you're building and establishing a new technology. The Ecolomondo TDP technology it's pioneer. The way we do things, recycling of the water, using the water, okay, the safety aspects that we have, you know, the consistency of the products. These are all things that didn't fall from the sky. They had to be, somebody had to think of them. They had to be engineered. They had to be developed and they had to be built into the system. Plus, machines are machines. Who operates the machines? In today's world, an airplane without a computer is grounded. You know, a reactor without a control system working is grounded unless you have people that are going there, pushing a button here and pushing a button there, creating human error. You know, so machines, once you program them the right way, they'll do things the same way. So that also improves our consistency of our products. So there's a lot of factors that have been built into our process. So the risks, there were many more, okay? And I'm not going to tell you that there's no risks tomorrow, but I can tell you, so far, every single risk that was there, we addressed and overcame.
Beautiful. I really do believe that Ecolomondo is a trailblazer, and you've done a lot of learning. And the good thing about learning is that you have to do it once. And once you've learned it, you can execute it and repeat the process. And you've mentioned also that your technology, your facilities are modular, which also makes things a lot more flexible and easier to replicate and scale as well. My question now is also about strategy. Where do you see the next big opportunity to capitalize on? Is it new geographies, new products, strategic partnerships? What are you focusing on?
Well, you know, as you're starting to develop a company, as you're starting to generate sales, and as people in the industry come to see the quality of your products, and you're selling it's the same over and over to the same people do take notice. You do get a lot of eyes on the company, and we've had that. So, and we're having that today. So it's hard to answer your question, Moneer, but what I can tell you that great people build great companies. And the staff at Ecolomondo, including the board, every one of them in their own right have served a purpose in this company. So I don't know if I'm answering exactly your question, but the point I'm trying to make here is that we are discussing on an ongoing basis with different industry players. Ecolomondo is probably the only company that doesn't have an affiliation yet with a tire company. And the reason for it is that the direction the company was going was to maximize revenues, okay, per ton of capacity. Now, tire companies make great press releases and probably great financial partners, but they don't make great bottom lines, create great bottom lines. So, and I'm not saying that Ecolomondo will not get there, but as we improve our efficiencies and we lower our OPEX to a level that we can do business with tire companies, some of them will become great partners with us, JV partners. They'll want to get in, okay? And then we'll start to develop products in what they need, not only what we have to offer them. You see? So that is the key. It's customizing and making sure. I built numerous businesses by giving the client what they want, not selling the client what I have.
That's definitely a very sound business approach, focusing more on the demand side of things and being responsive to customers' needs rather than just, as you said, giving them what you have. It's more about meeting their needs where they are. That's a great approach for sure. I want to move to questions from the audience now. Ryan is asking, when does Ecolomondo plan to start? I believe he means construction on the new plants in Texas and Europe.
You know, I must get that question asked 10 times a week. So I'll respond a certain way. Imagine if we would have started building Shamrock 2 years ago when we were in the heart of uncertainties in many aspects of the Hawkesbury facility. You know, you don't want to start building something unless you have something. So the Hawkesbury plant right now is generating revenues, and we hope that the revenues, or we anticipate the revenues will keep going up. So I believe that our mindset right now is a little different than when it was a year ago or 2 years ago. A year ago, we were working on our carbon black milling line. Today, we're operating our carbon black milling line. So it's one of the reasons I hired Mario, because our focus is changing. Mario is going to be very important for Shamrock, going to be very important for our global expansion. So I'm answering to Ryan, we will do it as soon as we can, and always in the best interest of Ecolomondo and its shareholders, I assure you.
Right. Another question, who will be responsible to obtain the financing for the expansion projects, Ecolomondo or the JV partners?
Well, the one in Texas, you know, we do have, we just reapplied for a bond. So the capital portion of it, which we have to put in a portion of it, we have right now just about a half of it, and we're working towards the other half. So we expect to either get a JV partner for Shamrock or raise capital on the capital markets, which right now we're working on several fronts to be able to raise more and large amounts of capital, because we got more on the table. We have much more to offer. We know that our debt is high for a small plant. That's not, you know, but at least our shareholders have not really been that diluted over the years. So there's a lot of traction there. So we're working on, without having to give specifics, because I'm not ready to do that. We are working. Now in Europe, our JV partner has a higher responsibility than us to secure the funds. We got involved for the simple reason that that was one of the factors, contributing factors. So we have the technology, they have the know-how, they're an EPC contractor, so they'll be able to build these plants, and they're going to have economic benefits, and they're able to bring to the table other things. So very, very specifics I can't give, but we have a road to financing these projects. And now that we are generating revenues, okay, and we are looking at different aspects of our debt, we hope to be able to give more peace of mind to the capital markets and to move on.
And what are the expected sales and net profit expected to be on the Hawkesbury plant once fully ramped up?
Well, I can tell you what our sales are going to be, what we're planning. You know, we're projecting, depending on commodity prices, anywhere between $11 and $13 million per year. Profits, I can tell you that we're going to have positive EBITDA. The level what we're projecting is about 40% and a little over that. But I don't want to give any false hopes, keeping in mind that we do not have a full year of operation yet. So we are mitigating our burn rate. We are reducing corporately our losses. So we're operating more efficiently. Now, we've been fortunate. We have great bankers around us that have understood our cause, so we feel that our future is bright going forward, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing, but we're very, very vigilant on what needs to be done, and we are doing it. So, and like I said, we're working on some other joint venture partners right now. So at one point, we're going to achieve what we need to achieve, especially now that we're generating some serious sales.
And speaking of which, you're currently producing 10,000 pounds an hour and plan to increase to double by July 2026. Are sales holding up your ability to increase production faster, or are you still having plant production issues?
So I don't know where they got the 10,000 pounds an hour.
2,000 pounds an hour.
2,000.
Yeah.
The milling machine has the capacity to produce 2,000 pounds and over. We're not producing 2,000 pounds per hour. We're producing right now the equivalent of one truckload of carbon black, which is about 50,000 pounds per week. And so that's what we're producing. But our milling machine has the capacity to do much more.
Okay. And are there, to address the other part of the question, are there still any plant production issues?
There's no production issues in our carbon black other than maintenance, okay, improvements. But we are producing quality carbon black. Reactors work regularly. They do full batches. We're doing more and more double batches, means 2 batches at the same time with two separate reactors. And all we need to do right now is to go to 4 batches a day, and we will be producing exactly the sales that I've outlined earlier.
Another question, has the recovered carbon black that has been produced so far been approved by the end users in Europe and USA?
Everybody that has tested our carbon black has approved it. We've had several tire manufacturers that have approved it. We have one end user in Europe approving our carbon black right now, but our intention is not to sell our carbon black from North America to Europe because the demand is gaining in North America. We do have one major carbon black client in the US who has not only approved it, but has also bought industrial amounts. And we have one in Canada that has bought and repeated numerous. So there's no issues with demand of our carbon black. We also have a third client in North America that's a major, major client. But one of the key things, we are selling right now the 2 largest, master batch companies in North America at this point.
And give a hint into the geographic locations, other negotiations that are currently ongoing.
Well, we're talking to different people in different parts of the world. We're talking more and more people in the US. We're talking more and more people in Europe. We're talking to, as far as Asia, Australia. I mean, we have global interest in our technology. Why? Because people are starting to see that it works. If you look at the Aresol press release that they issued in Europe, we were not part of writing that press release. We published in North America because I wanted the investors and the capital markets and our stakeholders to see how people perceive Ecolomondo and their technology.
I have a comment here from one of the participants. They thank us for the webinar, but they thank you for the webinar, but they're saying that there weren't many new updates in here. So how would you like to perhaps summarize latest developments?
Well, I thought there's a lot of updates. We're talking about global expansion. We're talking about quality of products. We're talking about sales. We're talking about. So my question to that person, which I thank them for their comment, is what updates are you actually looking for? We're looking forward. We're explaining what the vision of the company is. We're expanding in the U.S. We're expanding in Europe. Okay, the plant is ramping up. So I'd like to know what other updates would you like, and I'll be more than happy if I have the answer, I'll answer it.
Well, I've received also a comment from Paul saying that this is a great company, always transparent, and the updates were accurate. It's a shame people don't follow along close enough. Keep up the good work. I'll leave the answer to you, sir.
Well, listen, thanks, Paul. And, I've worked for this company since 2008, pro bono, because I believe in the company. And I realize one thing is that, rewards come from success, not from trying. So I've been trying very hard, and I'm just starting to succeed. So hopefully in the next 6 months, people will appreciate what I've done. I believe in Ecolomondo because it does have a purpose. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we have a new question. Can Ecolomondo put out a video that shows the entire process from tire shredding all the way to the end products?
We can. A video such as that takes a substantial amount of money. So it's something that I can assure you we will do in the future. But right now, it's not in the cards. But as budgets develop, we will most certainly do it, because I do believe in marketing. If one of the reasons we hired Global One is because we want to be transparent, and we want to promote our technology, because we believe we have something that's extremely solid, and our technology is probably one of the best ones in the world. So a video would just show the importance of it, even more, highlight it at least.
Absolutely. I would like to certainly watch that. David is asking, is there room in Hawkesbury to expand with a third line down the road?
No. The building in Hawkesbury, we can expand Hawkesbury because we're only using half of the land, so we can build a second set of reactors. We don't have to build everything. We can use common oil tanks and whatnot, some of the safety features. But right now, you have to balance the plant with the feedstock. So we're getting all our tires now in Hawkesbury from, the Ottawa Valley, if you want to call it. Okay. So the tires are limited. You don't build a 6-reactor plant where you need 5 million tires, and you only got you only got 1.5 million tires, or a population of 1.5 million people that generate 1.5 million tires. So everything is representative. So Hawkesbury was not engineered for that.
Thank you. I don't think we have any more questions. So thank you, Mr. Eliot, for your valuable insights and explanations. And I would like to also thank everyone for joining us today. Your time and participation are truly appreciated. You can always visit Ecolomondo's interactive investor page for more information. The link will be shared in the chat. A quick reminder, this webinar has been recorded and will soon be available for replay on both Ecolomondo's and Global One Media's pages and channels. Stay tuned for our upcoming webinars to keep up with Ecolomondo's latest developments. Thank you once again, and we wish you a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you, Moneer.